back to my channel. It's Angela, and I wanted to do a spread today. If you haven't noticed, this is the Art History Tarot for Past Lives by Melanie Eva Henson. It is published at Red Orchid Publishing. It is a, I guess you can say, an indie deck. If you've been following my story, this is the bag it comes in. It has a huge workbook that comes with it too that you can do past life stuff with. I deep into past life information. I have a couple specific decks I use just for past lives. So this is one of them. And all of a sudden, a couple months ago, I was watching a video by Amethyst Ascension, and she was showing this deck, and I was like, there was a card in there that I was like, I've never seen that card before. I know it was in here when I did my walkthrough, but I've not seen that card since. So much so that I forgot that card was in this deck. And I went through the deck, and it was not in there. I'm like, how the heck did this card disappear? Because it's been in this bag when I'm not using it since I got it. And that was the Death card. So I contacted Melanie, actually contacted Red Orchid Gifts on Etsy where I got the deck. And I said, hey, is there a way that I can get just this card? I seem to have misplaced my Death card. Or do I need to repurchase the deck? I didn't mind having to repurchase the deck, even though it was like $45. But she contacted me and was like, hey, I have an extra Death card I can send to you. And I was like, okay. Then a while went by and I didn't hear anything from her. And then the deck went out of print online. And I'm like, okay. Then she contacted me. She goes, oh, I forgot, I didn't forget you. I've just had things to do. I'm sending the card out. And I guess she's attempted a couple different times to send me this card. And it kept coming back to her. I finally got the card today in the mail from her. So my deck is now complete again. I have a Death card in my Art History Tarot for Past Lives tarot deck. So to honor that and to just get this deck out there again, because I think if you do anything past life related, this should be a deck in your collection, period. It's not the one I always reach for, but it's nice to know it's there when it's a deck geared for specifically for past lives. So what I'm going to do is this book has a spread in it. I'm going to pull out that spread, or not pull it out because it's attached to the book. This is what it looks like. It says number 1 is the core where and when. 2, core crossing where and when. So 1 could be where and 1 could be when, or vice versa. Number 3, passing influence, what you will still carry from this past life. Number 4, your interior qualities. 5, you and how others saw you. And number 6, how life is manifesting now. So I found those very interesting. I've done that spread a few times, and every time I do that spread, it's crazy accurate to what's going on in my life right at that moment. So I haven't done this spread in a while. I haven't actually touched the deck in a while just because there's cards missing. There's a card missing. So I was like devastated when I realized I had no Death card. And the fact that I'm talking about past lives and the Death card was the one missing, just kind of weird. And then it just not wanting to get here kept coming back to her in the mail. This whole thing has been weird. But it's finally in the deck. We'll see if this one disappears. I don't know how the last one disappeared. I've never found it. I went through every single deck I have. I went through every single book I have. Before I ever contacted her, the card is just gone. It's crazy because I keep everything in a specific area. So I don't know why or how it disappeared. But I'm thankful to Melanie Eva Henson for sending me a replacement. I'm forever grateful. I did thank her profusely. And let's get on with this spread. So for card 1, let me get back to it. It was the core where when. So 1 or 2 can fall out. This is a past life specific to what I need to know. And because I always been told, and I totally believe that, whatever past life you uncover is exactly the information you need to hear in that moment. So we'll see what, really, we'll put that back in there. If it comes back out, we'll know. So this is the core and crossing cards 1 and 2. I'm just going to do them together. Oh, that was trying to come out. And that came out with 2, so let's see what it says. The discard. Now she makes her presence known, of course. Interesting. And brother. Neither of those are a where or when card. Interesting. I almost feel like I killed my brother. Interesting. And it's got a man here. Interesting. Or I was a brother and they were killed. My sibling was killed. Maybe not by me. Okay. So, that's going to be the core and crossing card here. So, since we don't have a where or when, if a where or when comes up in any of the other spots, that will be the cards that's how she does it in the book. That will be the cards that we go off of. So number 3 is passing influence, what you still carry from this past life. Which, that's always the fascinating one to me. What am I carrying over from this past life? What am I carrying over from this past life? Now I'm trying to pop out. Genetic illness. Dear God. Wow. Genetic illness. That's very interesting. And if you look here, it's the 2 of Swords is the tarot relation, and then genetic illness is the up top. And sometimes I even go off of whatever the painting is in the corner here. It'll give you the painter, the name of the painting, if there is one, and the year it was painted. Sometimes I go off of those if I never get a where or when, because that could very well be the year. It just depends. But I find it very interesting that a genetic illness is what I'm carrying over, because I was a preemie at birth. I was told that I would when I was a baby, because when I was a baby, my mom was told that I would always be sick, that I would always have health issues. Never had an issue, never had a cold, bloody nose, nothing. Then I hit 30 and all hell broke loose. And it's literally been one thing after another since I hit 30. I'm now 47. And it's gotten worse since I hit my 40s. So now they're saying it could be genetics. It could be other things. But it's something that's being long-term. And I'm like, that's insane. Insane. It's almost like a delayed reaction till I became an adult. It was weird. So let's go to card 4. It is your interior qualities. Where's that number 4? And my interior qualities in this past life. My interior qualities in this past life. Ooh. Religion. It's the Hierophant. Interesting. Hold on a second. I had to pause it for a second. Don't even know where I'm at. Is that a pause it for a second? So we're on. Okay, so that was religion. Number 4 was my inner qualities. That does make a lot of sense because I grew up Pentecostal. I grew up very religious in this life. I grew up very matter of fact, kind of like, the brainwashing took, and then something happened, and when I became older, and I'm like, this isn't right. And the second I started questioning things, everything unraveled, and I found my own religion. So, I don't look at the word religion as something, it's literally just a word. And I say all the time that words matter, but I had an experience before I ever started reading tarot, before I ever had my awakening, whatever you want to call it, long before I ever decided that, what my beliefs were my beliefs now. I had a moment, I had an experience where I had someone whisper in my ear and no one was there and said, religion is just a word. And that changed the whole trajectory of where I was coming from, where I was going, everything. It changed everything for me. I saw that word as a tether to the past, that once I realized it was just a word, untethered me from the past of the ties that I had to Pentecostal church, the ties that I had to this deformed way of thinking, I'll say, which opened my mind. And once my mind was open, you can't, like when they say, you can't unsee what's behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz. Once she saw that it was just a man, she couldn't unsee that. And I'm not saying religion is just a man or that God is just a man. I'm none of that. I'm just saying once your mind is opened and you have a deep-seated experience, there's no going back. And that's interesting that is what comes up for the inner qualities for this past life, because I feel like that is too something I may have carried over, because I have deep feels on all of the subject. If you didn't notice. Okay, so number 5, you and how others saw you, your exterior. So that'll be up here, but we'll have to look at it before. What was my exterior in this past life? Wow, one just flipped over, and we got a year. It is the 8 of Wands, and I just pulled that in another spread. Interesting. But it is the 18th century. I don't know what years that is. We can look in the book here in a second. A redeemer of death, or freedom or death. Wow, interesting. That's the name of the painting. Interesting. So we got death here, and then I just spoke about breaking away from this religion, this freedom that it brought. Interesting. So we'll stick that up there for now. And then the last card, number 6, how this life is manifesting now. So how is this life manifesting into my life currently? Cards are just trying. This deck is very talkative now that it got the death card back. It's the 3 of Swords. Brokenhearted. And what did I ask? What was the question? Totally forgot. How this life is manifesting now. True story. So the very first past life experience I had That wasn't someone reading something to me. It wasn't um, me going to someone and having them do a past life reading for me. It was me literally meditating and having the most profound experience I've probably ever had in my life. I've talked about it on a video on this channel. I actually cried when I talked about it because it was a past life where I was a little girl. I was bit by a snake, which is probably why I'm terrified of snakes now for no reason. It's insane how terrified I am of them. But I had the perfect mother, perfect father, perfect everything. And I watched the mother die of a broken heart because her daughter wound up dying of the snake bite, which was me. I was like 5 or 6. And I was pissed in that meditation, and I was asking God, I was asking the universe, I'm like, why are you showing me this past life? Why? Because I've never had that in this life. I've never had a good relationship with my mother. She was very abusive. I've never had a good relationship with my father. He skipped out when I was 4. I've never known that unconditional love that comes with being a parent and giving that unconditional love to your child. I've never had that experience. And so it's ironic that perfect life carried over into this life as brokenhearted, which I found very interesting. And did you see something just flew through here, which tells me I'm speaking truth. Because every time I start talking the truth, something flies through here. So that's interesting. I do want to read really quickly on the 18th century thing. It's very interesting. It's very nonchalant, this spread. I mean, the first time I ever did a spread with this deck and this spread, I was like, oh my God, what is happening? But this one is like, yeah, you know this stuff. You know deep down inside, somewhere inside of you, you know all of this. Because to me, it's just a matter of unlocking that memory for that past life. Which is why we do spreads and stuff. It's kind of helping unlock that memory. So this is kind of it. This whole spread feels like, yeah, you already know this deep down inside. You know this. It's not nothing new. So for 8 of Wands, or am I just doing 18th century? Hold on. 17th and 19th. Where's 18th century? Hold on a second. Okay, so 18th century says traditional card 8 of Wands, root energy, incoming action message. In a past life, the 18th century is marked specifically by the French and American Revolution. The art in this card reflects the sentiments of the French Revolt. When this card appears, you spent time in this century and the freedom, lust associated with this period. It's possible you often identify chains of oppression. Oh my God. You wish to break through in this life as well. Totally true. Knowing deep down you have transcended similar struggles in the past. And I just said that. Wow. Alternative interpretations. This card is traditionally about an incoming message. Check email, text, and messages from loved ones for subtle meanings to uncover knowledge of a past life. And the place is Paris. So I love that because even though I didn't get a place in the spread, it's given me a place here with the 18th century. So that's pretty cool. And then it gives you information on the art itself here, which is cool. I'm not going to get into it. If you want to read, buy the book, buy the deck. That's a really cool spread. It's, yeah, pretty neat information. I just wanted to reacquaint myself with the full deck again because I haven't done a spread in a while, and the card's been missing it's been missing the death card, which ironically is the first card that popped out here, which I find hilarious. And so yeah, it's kind of spot on from what I've gathered on some current information in my life, so that's quite interesting. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.